The NFL Draft Combine started today. D linemen and linebackers got to show off their skills to NFL scouts. Aaron Rodgers has come out of his darkness retreat with some sort of plans on his mind, so we'll see what happens there. And Lamar Jackson, is he on his way out of Baltimore? We'll talk about it right after this. You make it happen. You come back from the brink of hell. Kind of in a love triangle situation right now. And to help illustrate what needs to happen this next week for each team to make the playoffs, I have this nice whiteboard.
Oh, Jesus.
This one's for you. How did they not figure this out? The reason the game is dying, the reason the fan base is shrinking, is because no one can watch your product. The NBA title this year with the Phoenix Suns, would that validate his legacy?
I have no comments about the snake.
Hey, divorce is tough, man.
I guess, yeah. Divorce is hard. Poor guy. Hopefully he can still kiss his son on the lips, though. Anyways, welcome back to the most unprofessional YouTube channel on the network. This is Swivel Chair Sports. Welcome to another video. I am your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle, here with my co-host today, Aaron and Joe. Go ahead and say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Going on.
All right, so starting off first on this little video, we got the NFL Combine starting today with D linemen and linebackers given the opportunity to show off their skills to NFL scouts. So what do you guys think we're looking at the D-line and linebacker position this upcoming draft?
I don't know about specific names, but they look fast. I mean, we saw some pretty staggering numbers today. It's like a edge rusher run a 4.39 and like a D lineman run like a 4.78. So they're fast. It's fun to see the progress that these athletes are making year to year.
Yeah, I mean the athleticism's obviously went up throughout the generations. We see it in other sports too, NBA, MLB. The athleticism is just at an all-time high, it seems like, in professional sports. What do you think, Joe? What's something that really stood out to you?
So outside the big news of Jalen Carter getting in some trouble with some stuff, getting bailed out this morning, a mugshot was actually a picture of him rocking the Combine T-shirt, the No Bull gear, which was kind of wild. But I mean, outside of him, and everyone talking about him possibly being the number one of mine that I was impressed with was Will Anderson Jr. from Alabama. A lot of people had him. If he would have came out last year, would have been the number one end to come out.
Right.
And he's decided to stay at Bama. And probably, I still think he should be somewhere in the top 5. Like, I think he should be up there with Jalen Carter. But when he ran a 4.6, measured in at 6'3 and a half, 250. Like, he was a top prospect last year, top prospect this year. I don't know, see him. He didn't seem to do anything that hurt himself. If anything, I think just kind of established that he's legit.
Yeah, so like going up towards that top of the draft board, obviously the Bears are the big news right now. A lot of people are wondering if they're going to trade that first round pick or not, because more likely than not, I mean, they are not really in the market for a new quarterback per se, unless they don't trust Justin Fields, which is possible. There are murmurs about them maybe not trusting Justin Fields and going with the quarterback at number 1. But a lot of people are assuming that they may, if they don't trade the pick away, they would go obviously defense or offensive line. What are your guys' expectations with the Bears going into this draft class with that first overall pick? Do you think, do you expect them to trade down, or do you expect them to hold at number 1 and maybe taking like a defensive guy or an offensive lineman with that pick? Obviously, it wouldn't be the most exciting Number one pick in the world as a Chiefs fan. Last time we had it, and maybe only time we had it, we took left tackle Eric Fisher.
Most
Draft.
boring first picks ever.
Yeah, it was like one of the shallowest drafts to get the first overall pick in. It really sucked. We needed a quarterback, and there were no good ones available for that pick. So we took Eric Fisher.
And
which,
he didn't turn into a bust, but he didn't. He wasn't terrible.
Yeah,
So,
like
it could have been a whole lot worse. But
right.
like you said, it was for a first round for the number one pick. It was very
it was underwhelming.
Anticlimactic.
Yeah,
yeah,
very underwhelming. He did not. Oh, hey, Siege, how's it going? We're just talking a little NFL real quick. Aaron, what do you think the Bears are going to do with that number one overall pick?
I think they should trade it. Obviously, I mean they don't need a quarterback. I don't think they feel like they need a quarterback either. So I think you can get some of the other players that maybe that they're looking at a lower spot and get some more picks to go along with that, trading away that first pick.
Yeah. What do you think, Joe? Do you think the Bears trade or stay at one?
I don't know. I could see both sides of it. Like if you're sold on, I'm just gonna say Bryce Young. Like if you're sold, that dude is a franchise changing quarterback. Like, hey, I can see them go for it, but they need more help than one pick right now.
Yeah.
Like what Justin Fields did this year, if he's on a little bit of a better team, their team comes out definitely with a better record. Not gonna say he carries them anywhere, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's not terrible if they trade down. And, I mean, if you could trade the number one overall pick and somehow maybe get 2 ones out of it for this year, next year, or something like that, I feel like that would work better for them in the long run. But, I mean, you have the number one overall pick. So if there's a guy that you're absolutely in love with that you wholeheartedly think is a can't miss guy, then yes, you do have, a chance that doesn't come around too often.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of teams that would be willing to trade up to that number one spot. And the Bears could, collect a couple extra draft picks if they were to trade down. Just a couple teams to kind of keep in mind for potentially trading up who, they have a couple of extra first round picks. I know, let's see here. I know Indianapolis is a potential team to see moving up. They don't have 2 first round picks, but they're probably willing to throw in a couple of other later first round pick or later round picks in order to move up and get that franchise quarterback that they're missing and desperately need at this point. Let's see here. Atlanta's another team to look out for. They're kind of looking for that franchise quarterback as well. Detroit, that was the team I was trying to think of earlier. They have the 6th overall pick thanks to the Matt Stafford trade with the Rams, as well as their own pick at 18. So I would think that those 2 picks, if they were to package them together, would definitely get them up to the first overall pick. Whether or not they'd be willing to do that, though, I'm not sure. But it's definitely something to look out for. As far as Chicago's concerned, they could definitely pick up some extra assets. I know, not an NFL example, but an NBA example that just comes to mind off the top of my head, because I'm a Celtics fan. That number one overall pick back in the Markelle Fultz draft class, they ended up trading down to number 3 with the Sixers, got an extra pick out of it, was able to get their guy Jason Tatum at number 3. So something to look out for the Bears. They could pick up an extra pick or 2 and only move down a handful of spots and still get the guy they're looking for. But we'll have to wait and see. What do you think, CG? Do you have any idea of what you're expecting the Bears to do with that number 1 overall pick?
I don't know if I'm expecting them to do one thing or the other. I think they should probably trade just because, I mean, they have Justin Fields and he's young, I mean, we haven't got to see like the other 2, or like pretty much everybody's saying. Unless there's somebody that they're completely sold on replacing him, then trade it away, try to get some more out of it. That way you can go get a few defensive linemen, a few offensive linemen, something like along those lines.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like the most logical thing for them to do is trade down. Really no need to stay at 1 and lose out on picking up some extra assets if the guy you really want. Because if you don't need a quarterback, no need to get a quarterback at 1. It seems kind of stupid. You just drafted one a couple years ago. Unless you really don't have faith that he's going to, take that next step, which is kind of a stupid thing to think, in my opinion, because he made such a big stride. I mean, I don't know if he made a big stride this past year, but he played. He seemed like he did in my eyes. He looked better, more calm under pressure. Um, he's probably one of the best running quarterbacks in the league. Maybe number 3 behind Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. Not in that order. I'm not going to put those two in an order because that's not fair. But he's up there with those guys. So it's something to say about that. It's going to be interesting. I think they're going to trade one or the other. They're either going to trade Justin Fields or they're going to trade the number 1 overall pick. I can't imagine they're going to stay there when they can easily trade it away for people that would take a quarterback with that pick and gain some extra assets with it. Because you need, like Joe said earlier, you need more than just one piece. So why not trade for a couple instead of taking one at number 1? But moving on from that,
I have a question. So this you brought up the Colts kind of, and this kind of was making me think: can we really trust anything that like teams are saying right now? Because their GM Chris Ballard, right? He said, who knows? You guys keep saying that we need to move up, but what if we don't have to? What if we don't think we need to move up to get our guy? What if we think our guy is going to be
right
where
there
we want, or maybe
4.
we move back?
It's very
So,
yeah.
do you think like it's a lot of what they say is a smoke screen to kind of like throw other teams off, or
Sure.
do you think there's truth to it?
So in my opinion, I don't think there's anything to gain for Chicago to gain by bluffing that they're gonna trade it, but then don't. Like you have the number 1 overall pick. You can literally pick whoever you want. There's no need for you to bluff. You can tell the whole league you're gonna take Bryce Young at number 1, and there's nothing they can do to stop you. Like, you can just do that. So I don't see any reason for Chicago to pull any bluffs out. Like, it just doesn't seem like they would gain anything from it.
I wasn't speaking specifically on Chicago, just kind of in general. Like around the combine, you start hearing like the swirls of trading picks and maybe who teams are interested in.
I think it's both. Like, I think there is definitely some smoke and mirrors because you kind of have to. I mean, there's always some kind of stories that all of a sudden come out from a guy's past because they've been digging. There's rumors that there's teams that do that to sabotage the guy to help drop them to their spot. Like, who knows what really goes on? I think a lot of it's smoke and mirrors. For people in the top, I mean, you can do what you want. Everyone's going to have a rumor that they're willing to trade it, a top pick. And that's not just the Bears. That's just anybody. There's always rumors of it and predictions. So, I mean, I am with you, though. There is a whole lot of smoke and mirrors. So, if you say we haven't decided, people still think you want to keep the pick. And then, who knows, while you're on the clock, you trade that pick. Then it just starts flipping everything on its head. So, I don't know.
Yeah,
take everything with a grain of salt.
It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, NFL GMs are going to try to bluff each other. As far as the Bears are concerned, I don't think they're going to be bluffing anybody. There's no need for them to. But I get where you're coming from with those other teams. Like maybe in Indianapolis says they're willing to trade up, but then or I guess in your case, they said they didn't want to trade up, but maybe they actually do. That was their way of, getting other people to back off or maybe not offer as much. Whereas, like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But moving on to Aaron Rodgers, has arisen from his darkness retreat in the middle of nowhere, and supposedly he has a decision on his mind. What that decision is, we are not sure yet. We are not privy to that information. However, we are more than welcome to speculate on that information. So let's do so. Where do you think Aaron Rodgers is playing next year? Personally, I don't know. Give me a couple seconds to think about it. But, Aaron, do you have any idea? Can we start with you?
So, have we heard he's definitely playing? Because
we haven't. That is an option. Retirement is an option.
I personally think he's going to play. I think if he decided to retire, we probably would have heard a little bit more, about the Packers trying to make a move for somebody or.
Well, Jordan Love's
somebody in the draft.
Jordan Love's in waiting though.
I guess that's true. Kind of forgot about him. We put his mom way in the back.
Everyone forgot about him. That's the problem.
Yeah. I think he stays with the Packers if he doesn't retire.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to see him move. I just think that would be fun to see a player of his
I
caliber.
don't.
You don't think that'd be fun to see him go somewhere else?
I think it'd be terrible for the
Boy, gonna
Chiefs
end
because
up
he's
in
more likely
Vegas,
to be
son.
moved to the AFC.
We're going to Vegas, and he's gonna be playing y'all twice a year.
See,
He's
that's
going
what
to
I
Vegas
think.
with the Jets.
I think he's going to Vegas, and I guess as a Chiefs fan, that wouldn't be fun. So I kind of take my words back, kind of put my foot in my mouth on that one, because that division would be absurd. Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson. I realize Russell Wilson had a pretty bad year last season, but he's still Russell Wilson. I think he's capable of bouncing back. Whether or not he will, we'll see. But he's capable of
Played
it.
well against the Chiefs both times.
Yeah, exactly. He played his best 2 games last year against the Chiefs, so that's concerning. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer who's still capable of making the playoffs and leading a team to the playoffs. Maybe not a Super Bowl anymore, but to the playoffs. And then Justin Herbert's on the rise, as well as Patrick Mahomes. So it definitely wouldn't make our road to the playoffs any easier. That would be a concern if he were to go to Las Vegas. But that just seems like the most logical place for him right now, especially with Derek Carr going out, Devontae Adams staying. It just seems like a match made in heaven at this point, and he can gamble his life away. What do you think, Siege? Do you think Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay, retires, what?
Well, considering the last time you said quarterback was going to Vegas, they retired. I'm gonna say he either
That's true.
stays
I
the
did say
Packers
that.
or he retires.
Yeah, I did say that Tom Brady was going to the Raiders.
I still don't believe that he's actually retired.
I
Dude,
won't. Yeah.
He's retiring, or he's retired for
Till-
good. He
till
was
the-
in
I'll believe
commercial
it
for
when he's been in the
iRacing.
booth for 3 years. Then
Till-
I'll believe it.
Till the first snap of the NFL season. I'll believe it when the first snap of the NFL season comes around. I don't think he'd sit a season out and then come back. At his age, that
I
just
think he
makes
would. I
sense.
think he'd be like, "Damn, I really missed this."
At his age,
I don't
though,
wanna be
do
talking
you think
about
he'd be 47 when he came back?
It doesn't matter. It's Tom Brady.
I don't know. But
He's so
continue,
competitive.
Siege. Continue, Siege.
I don't have any more.
Okay. Yeah, I did say Tom Brady was going to the Raiders and then he retired, so I could very well be wrong about this. Joe, do you have anything to add?
I mean, Rodgers is one of the hardest dudes to read in the league when it comes to stuff like this. Like, he's gonna do what he wants to do without a doubt. Whether anyone cares, I don't think matters to him. So, Vegas would make a lot of sense. I mean, money wise, he's gonna adjust his contract. Sign something different, but state taxes out there in Nevada.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more appealing to him. Then again, I don't know if he wants to be in the limelight in a place like Vegas either. So
Right, yeah, he's been a
I don't
small
know.
market.
I think I don't know if he retires.
Yeah.
If he doesn't stay though, Vegas just makes a lot of sense. But who knows?
Yeah, I don't think he retires. Some people are saying he might go to the Jets. I think he'd definitely go to the Raiders. I think his top 3 options are Raiders, Packers, retirement. I don't think the Jets are on his radar.
Hey, Tay Adams is over there in Vegas now.
Exactly, yeah.
Go do that again.
Yeah. So, and they were very successful together, so it could definitely work out. But speaking of the Jets, it's very possible a different quarterback who may be on the move could go up to New York or New Jersey. I suppose they play in New Jersey. But that's beside the point. Lamar Jackson is having disagreements with the front office of the Baltimore Ravens right now. They can't seem to come to agreement on a contract. That seems like that may be a problem going forward. Lamar Jackson supposedly looking for a fully guaranteed contract. The Ravens are very hesitant to get that. Lamar Jackson is wanting something similar to the Deshaun Watson deal up in Cleveland. I can't really blame him because he is clearly a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson, but Deshaun Watson was overpaid. We can all agree on that. So that's an issue in itself. That's going to cause problems for a lot of quarterbacks down the line. I know, Aaron, you mentioned that you think Deshaun Watson's contract is going to end up being a one of one. I kind of agree with you on that. I think it was an absurd deal for him. And especially the amount that Cleveland had to give up in order to even acquire him in the first place. Cleveland is a dumpster fire again. It really only had that 1 year where Baker took him to the playoffs, but maybe Lamar goes there and saves the season and Deshaun goes to Baltimore. I don't know. A lot of things could happen. But if Lamar were to move, we're going to assume that Lamar is leaving Baltimore, okay, in this situation. Where do you think is the best fit for Lamar Jackson? Siege, I'll start with you.
Yeah, start with the guy that doesn't pay attention to the NFL. Perfect. I love it.
that felt mean. That did felt
Patriots.
mean.
Yeah.
He's going to the Patriots.
After I say that Lamar Jackson is way overrated, just where's the best fit for Lamar Jackson?
So where is it?
I have no idea, dude. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know where a system is that he would fit right away besides Baltimore, because I mean he kind of created the system at Baltimore, whenever he came into the league. So
Right.
I guess finding a system that works with a running quarterback already, I don't necessarily know where that is right now.
Yeah.
Besides like Philly, but they got
Jalen. Right.
Sorry about you, and they went to the Super Bowl.
Miami would be an interesting fit if they want to sell Tua. I don't know how Tua would fare.
Do you think they sell Tua?
Well, I think the Dolphins would take Lamar over Tua. Yes. I don't think Tua would fare well in Baltimore though. But we'll get. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Joe? Where do you think Lamar's going to go if he does leave?
I'm gonna kind of go with someone. I know everyone keeps saying like the Jets. That's everything that I've seen.
Right,
It seems like, but I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna say Carolina.
Carolina.
I think Panthers owner. I think Tepper, Dave Tepper. I think he is definitely willing to spend money. Dude is stupid rich. I mean, that's all owners for the NFL teams are, but he's one of the wealthiest owners in the league.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like him making splash move like that to go get Lamar Jackson. Like, I mean, just don't sleep on Carolina on it. Kind of taking a guess on that, but I'm with Siege though. As far like that's going to be hard because Lamar, there might be a learning curve for the team and Lamar when he switches because there's no other quarterback in the league has his skill set. There's not many dudes in the league that can run the way he can.
Yeah.
So in order to use it as part of your offense, like if you're not, Ravens molded their offense around him and worked it, and it works great for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be a learning curve for some other coaches or other teams and organizations trying to figure out, okay, how does he fit into the rest of the team, and how do we like work around him?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting because it's kind of Lamar doesn't. Not a knock on him, but he doesn't fit into just any system, Like, you kind of got to build your system around Lamar because his skill set is fairly unique, even at this stage of the NFL, where you do have like a Jalen Hurts, even a Josh Allen who does a fair amount of freed options. But it's you bring it you both.
I think it's more of just you have to work around him. Like, you have to learn how to add that into your game.
Exactly.
Like, you can't improvise. You have to have design runs for a guy like that.
Right. Like, you've got to have read options if Lamar Jackson's on your team. You'd be selling yourself short if you don't have any of that in your playbook when he's your quarterback. So, Aaron, do you see any team as a particularly good fit for Lamar Jackson and his unique skill set?
I was thinking about Carolina, but I'm gonna go another team in the same division. We're gonna go with the Falcons.
Oh, that's a good one.
They really kind of like they seem to have a similar style. Like they got their run game going really later in the season. They've got some good young targets for him to throw to, and Kyle Pitts and Drake London. So
and Calvin Ridley if he does come back.
Yeah, place another harmless bet.
Yeah.
But they've kind of shown that they're willing to go get some weapons. They did that for Mariota.
Right.
I would assume they'd be more than willing to do that for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of those weapons with Lamar Jackson, is kind of nasty to think about. Like if Ridley is exactly who he was when he left, like when he got in trouble, he comes back the same. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, like being that as young as they are too with their talent, like it could be a A fun
And-
little show to
and
watch
Lamar-
over in Atlanta.
Lamar loves his tight ends. We saw that with Mark Andrews, obviously. So Kyle Pitts could, if Lamar does go to Atlanta, Kyle Pitts could definitely reach that potential that we all had for him coming out of the draft back when he came out. And he hasn't came close to that, unfortunately. But that's an interesting team there, Aaron. I hadn't thought about the Atlanta Falcons, but that does seem like a really good fit. They have a really good running game. That was kind of what they fell back on this past year. The tight end that Lamar loves to use, and then a decent little receiving core. It's just a matter of really getting that offensive line shored up. Which, I mean, Lamar Jackson. If any quarterback can play without a good offensive line, Lamar Jackson can because of his ability to escape the pocket if need be. But that's a really good team. I never thought of them. I'm gonna stick with the Dolphins though. I think Tua's kind of concerning for them with the injury problems he had this past year, concussion specifically, obviously. But I think if they could bring in a Lamar Jackson to throw, with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, you don't need to necessarily throw it downfield for those guys to get loose. Quick slants here and there, little flat routes here and there, they'll catch and they'll take off for 80 yards if they get the chance. So
Do the Dolphins have enough to give up to get Lamar?
I think if you throw Tua in it, then you could get Lamar. I think it would require trading Tua.
Yeah,
Well,
depends
yeah.
on what ends up with the contract negotiation stuff for Lamar. Like, if it gets to a point where he is
Yeah.
now asking out and like telling them I'm not playing for Baltimore,
Right.
then at that point, just throwing in like Tua and some picks or something else is like good enough. But if they want him, I think that's going to be a lot.
I think if
You
the
got to give it a shot with a guy like Lamar. You can't throw him out the
Right.
window. Like if you have a chance, it's almost like unless you have Mahomes or Josh Allen, you got to try
Well,
to
and
take that chance.
I was about to say that with Josh Allen in your division, I feel like you gotta improve at quarterback. Like Tua's really good. I think he has a really high potential, but the injuries are concerning, and it's not a one-off thing here and there.
His back injury?
His every injury. He's had so many different injuries. Like he said, concussions, back. Like
Or his leg.
sure.
His hip.
Yeah, tore.
Was it him that had the hip problem?
ankle?
Yeah, like he's not a sturdy quarterback. He's not exactly known for being the most healthy guy in the room. So he's kind of injury
I
prone.
want the best for Tua. I really,
I do
really
too.
want him
Yeah,
to be good.
yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, sitting here imagining highlight reels of Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, and Lamar Jackson on the
Right.
same football field
Yeah.
sounds like a nightmare as a defensive
Oh,
coordinator.
absolutely.
Like
yeah.
you have to stay up and plan for those three who, anytime you have a ball, can make something happen. Like that would be wild to watch.
Yeah.
Can't forget about Mike Gesicki either. Loves his tight ends.
Hey, don't let him
Yeah.
hit the gritty on y'all like that again.
Ooh, yeah. Meanest gritty in the NFL.
Best gritty in the league.
Yeah, best gritty in the league, no doubt.
Mike, what they
Mike
call him,
Gesicki.
Mike Gritty.
Mike Gritty. Mike Gritty. But yeah, I mean that'll do it here for us at Swivel Chair Sports for this video on NFL offseason stuff. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you made it this far into the video. We all appreciate you. I've been your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle. Co-host today, Aaron, Joe, and Siege joining us a little bit in. Go ahead and say bye, guys.
I guess.
All right. Deuces.